Seems like there's no better time to start filming than when the lifeblood of the machine's coming in. What say you, Adrian?
Right about that.
Right about that. I've been a little MIA while we were getting this machine prepped, and we'll dig into that in a little bit, but introducing the Tempest Bale Slicer. And this morning is very excited because they mostly have it put together. And we are pumping the life force into it. That is a 750-gallon hydraulic oil tank that we are filling. We do stock hydraulic oil here, but this requires a slightly higher viscosity blend, I think like 180. What we're usually putting in our tractors, I think, is like a 140 something with, I don't fancy myself an oil expert, but it's slightly different than what we're throwing in most of the equipment here. So here's the great fill of 2026. Thank you, Holmes Oil. How many guys does it take to fill a tank, Carl?
Depends on how many 5-gallon buckets they want to use.
Holmes Oil are great vendors to work with. The type of vendors that you don't talk to until you need them. So I probably wouldn't invite them to the farm Christmas party, but they're always here when you need them. You can count on them. So they're good company. Beautiful trucks too. That lime green Pete really stands out. What are you going to tell us about this machine, buddy?
I'll tell you more if they get it going next month.
Oh, come on. So filling through the breathers, we were a bit too small for their spout, so we just take the lid off and we're good to go. How many gallon tank is this? 750?
Yeah, it's something
I think
like
it's
that. The reason we go with that big is so that we've got some good radiant dissipation of the heat, right?
Right, yep. It's a very cold day in the Ohio tundra, so I'm sure the oil is going to pump slow. While we're waiting for that to pump, I think it'd be pretty fitting to do a short compilation of just some of the setup of this machine. I didn't film as much as I wanted. I filmed a little bit unloading the trucks and then some various things we did in here, but installation has taken quite some time and I just wasn't out here every day. So I'll show you a little bit of what we did, some pictures, some videos, and then we'll see the magic of how this beast became to be. And then as soon as we get the oil on that, I think they were planning on dry running a couple pieces, see how all that works, and maybe run some hay through it by the end of the week, and hopefully have a little bit of a video just in the beginning processes of the new Tempest Bale Slicer. So this is some very high-level tech startup we got going on here.
This is high level.
High level. They must fill the case drains. We got the life juice into the tank. That's very important before the first startup. And I guess it's a good time to introduce the main characters of the story. We have Tim up there.
Hello, everyone.
And Adrian. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are part of Ghost River Systems.
That's correct.
And the whole spiel behind this machine is a collaboration between Chinook Hay and Ghost River Systems.
That's correct.
The very first one at Miller Farms Custom LLC. So you guys get to see it first here.
Yep.
But these guys have a lot of experience building similar type machines. And they seem to be the brains behind the intricate setups. So we're reaching a mission critical moment. We're going to bump the motor for the first time and maintain a safe distance.
Okay, I'm going to hit start and I'm going to hit stop right away again. Okay. It did that.
Stand by. While we're going through some startup issues, I'm sitting here running through my mind that the Tempest is likely going to be one of the best choices we have ever made, or a complete disaster. And this all or nothing outcome has weighed heavily on my mind since we made the down payment. This type of decision sits really heavily on you, and that's why we're happy to share that this video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Seriously, this kind of undertaking gets in your head more than people think and really affects you. You spend a lot of time at night not sleeping like you should, running every possible scenario in your head, both excitingly and fearfully, anticipating all the work you need to do to see this sort of gamble pay off. What if we chose wrong? What if this doesn't work as we need it to? What if customers aren't very receptive to the new packaging? And these mental battles aren't just for a young hay farmer trying to make a name for himself. I think it's a lot of people in the agriculture industry. And I don't think that, I know that. There's so much pressure everywhere. Markets for the commodities are razor thin or non-existent. Input costs before recent world events were high, now they're just absurd. And weather doesn't ever seem to be on our side. And all these variables that seem to work against us constantly weigh on our minds and occupy our minds. And having a place to sort that out helps a lot more than people think. That's something that BetterHelp is built for. You can take a quick quiz and get matched with a licensed therapist and talk however you want, by phone, by video, or even text. It's meant to fit your comfort level, and if it's not the right fit, you can easily switch. If you've been feeling that kind of pressure too, it's probably worth trying. The link is in the video description, or you can go to betterhelp.com/farminginsider to get 10% off your first month of therapy.
I'm going to start it up here.
This one's for all the marbles. As the lines fill, that's what's doing that?
Yeah, as the lines fill, things will kind of start moving a bit.
It didn't explode. It's great. It's really good. That was the first non-human movement we've seen on this thing.
There you go.
That's great. That's the first time first hydraulic movement we've seen.
Yeah.
That's really great. We're firing down now. So now that we have the VFD running, it's firing the 125 horsepower electric motor. They're going to walk around and check for any hydraulic leaks because that motor is running the pump, which powers the entire machine. One minor leak, just button it up a pinch. So I reckon I'm going to have to explain this machine to you guys sooner or later, but right now they're just manually messing with each valve, moving and making sure all the cylinders are firing, making sure we're getting hydraulic pressure to every part of this machine, which it's like 10 to 12 steps from large bale to eventual small bale. So it's quite a few intermittent steps they're going to check one at a time before we actually dry fire with the programming. We have successful movement of the chain. You can see that's a return sensor right there, and they're checking to see that it lit up when the paddle came near it. And according to Adrian, it did. You a bit nervous right now?
What's that?
Are you a bit nervous?
Probably about the same as you, Jim.
Oh, okay. There's a lot on the line. So this is kind of like the big mama we're going to test.
You want to stay short of the blades?
This is the enormous cylinder, clearly taking the most power to push this paddle all the way through, and the idea is that there's two blades, or there should be three blades in there, and it is slicing an entire large square. So that's quite a bit of force it takes to push those through knives. So we'll see this move. That's just an obnoxiously long cylinder, actually. It's almost comical looking at it. Wow. It's about to meet the knives. I think he's going to stop short, and the knives aren't even in yet. There'll be one more vertical knife. So a 3x4 will go in there and be cut into 6 logs. Very neat. We're going through. So here we are a couple days later, and there has been a ton of progress, but not a lot of tangible, visible progress. Tim has been hard at it with wiring, programming, troubleshooting tiny little errors, VFD faults, what have you, but we didn't feel that would make tremendously good content. But here we are, March 29th, and we are ready to dry cycle the Tempest. So get excited, here we go. This would be, what is this station called? The Bale push? The feed apron. The feed apron, okay.
It's ready to go
Yep. So we have a bale pushing in. Well,
Do a re-grab.
here we go.
And it's going to do a retuck just to make sure it's in.
And then the large, what diameter cylinder is that?
That's an 8-inch.
8-inch cylinder is pushing it through.
6-inch.
6-inch cylinder. And we'll push over 2 of those logs at a time. This is the future, eh?
This is it.
And now here would be the 3rd set of 2 logs pushed over. Man, that is neat. Just envision pristine hay in there. So Tim, a lot of the groundwork that we didn't film was, the majority of these movements have at least a start and an end position, right? And some of them have middle ground in it.
That's right.
It just takes a lot of time to dial that in and get the programming and the language and
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
and everything talking.
That's right.
And I don't believe we've introduced Cam yet. He is the salesman extraordinaire.
I would say that.
He's going to push these products on the market, and it's going to take over the industry.
That's the goal.
Were you part of the spearheading of the partnership between Ghost River and Chinook?
I'd known Chris at Chinook for about 10 years prior.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started Ghost River, we thought kind of combine forces on this product.
So Ghost River is currently servicing other similar systems, but not the same.
We do a little bit of parts and a little bit of service work, but our primary goal is to develop new equipment for the 4K processing market.
Okay.
So this will be our first project and first big piece of equipment we put out after probably took a little longer in development, but it's probably about 18 months.
Cool.
10 years.
Yep. And you have a background in this type of processing from your previous employer.
The whole Ghost River team used to work for, they build a lot of the export presses.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that company ceased to exist about 2 years ago, and we kind of leveraged our experience, created a new venture. So, yeah, we're excited to see what we can do.
Cool. So there's the background. We're in good hands here. That's a pretty good teaser before we put hay into it. Look at that, the first bale ever placed. So this morning we are getting, well, I hope that compilation of the dry cycle gets you guys excited for today, piques your interest, because this morning we were tasked with actually grabbing a bale of hay for Tim to measure, set the knives in the correct position so we get the right size cuts that we want, and start pushing some hay through this. So we have reached the point on this glorious morning, well, afternoon now, where we are ready to put a bale through. Tim has given us permission. Like I said, Tim has given us permission to run a bale through on manual. So I called my dad to get him out here because he wants to see this just as badly as I do. Are you nervous, Tim? No. I ask everyone that in videos. No, I usually say, what's going through your head right now?
Yeah, kind of working my way through the sequence and understanding where we might run into some issues, and
it's gonna be smooth.
Yeah, there you go.
You ready for the big push? So we've got our absolutely premium hay here. Some very old Timothy. So the first tolerance we did clear up there. That is great.
So this is approximately where it's going to stop.
Yep.
We get twine pulled.
Let me move my beverages of choice here.
I'm going to get rid of this bracket because we're not using it at this point.
Okay.
It was there as an option.
Yep. This is the first bale it's seen, so we have to move that sensor about 6 inches forward so it knows when to manually stop this bale. And that's probably going to be the only thing we have to do, and it's just going to run smooth. It's That's what Tim's promising.
Promising. Okay.
Okay, carrying on our epic journey. So here we have the very first cut. That 3x4 is now effectively cut into 6 logs. So Tim's already noticed some adjustments that need to be made, but we will see how this log comes over. And this was all expected on the first slab coming over. Some adjustments to the heights of the table, maybe a little more reinforcement on the flake controller up there.
Actually, that slide off wasn't bad.
That slid off pretty good, yeah.
I didn't believe that.
Yeah.
That flake control.
Yep. So the first flakes fell over, and we think that's just because the flake control needs to be a little higher. Right now, that would do well on a 3x3 bale.
Yeah. Now, that first cut seemed to be not as nice as I would have liked it.
Okay.
The front of the bale, as it cut around that vertical knife, was kind of rolling a bit.
Yes.
Now, in the end, it was still fairly flat. If we would have had a flat face on the flake control to come up against,
It probably
I
would-
think it would have been fine.
Agreed.
But because we don't have a flat face on there right now,
Yes.
that is definitely 18 inches there. Yeah, and we're at 17 inches there. So it needs to go, in my opinion, it needs to go another half an inch into the slicer box when it's being fed
To
in.
be even side to side.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm not sure if I've emphasized this beforehand, but we are, I guess, in a bit of a partnership with Ghost River and Chinook, and that this is the first machine here. This is the prototype. We were given a bit of a discount because we knew that there would be some snafus and things along the way getting this first machine up and running. So I'm not sitting here pouting that it's not running right away, because this was, all part of the idea of getting a new machine going. So we've successfully installed our very fancy, what we'll call flake controllers here. Flake holders, I don't know, something. Resistance as the logs are pushed forward so that front flake doesn't fall over. And we're hoping this is a very simple, cheap way to do this. So this is probably one of the smartest processes of the entire machine here. That claw comes down, and that is on a pressure sensor as it goes into the chamber, and it stops when it hits a certain pressure, and that's how we have our best understanding of the weight of the bales that comes out. And then as soon as it spits out here, there is a load cell on this plate, and we'll know the exact weight. So this machine will constantly be talking to itself based on the output weight and the pressure of the hay going into the chamber, and going back and forth all the time, trying to maintain the exact bale weight that we want. So we're going to eject the first bale. I'm not anticipating it's super pretty, but we'll have something. We have to make quite a few adjustments. This is the first bale is hopefully the longest bale it ever takes to get processed. We'll see how the first ones come out. And the strapper's not completely dialed in yet either. We need potentially need an expert here. I'm not sure. It's doing what's called short feeding, I guess. It took long enough that we actually lost the audience to my dad. He had to get out of here. So he'll come back when it's running. So ideally we'll have 3 straps on each bale, at least to start. That's the plan.
Yeah.
So you can see the positioning. 3 straps on each bale. That's 2 bales we're looking at. All 6. I may end up cutting a lot of this out. I don't know how good a contact following a strapper is for you guys, but it's still all very exciting for us. That's 5 out of 6. That is 6 out of 6. That is phenomenal. That's the second time now we've seen all 6.
The cut's right in between the 2 straps now.
Yeah.
and we're probably pretty close to the same amount on either end here on the good end. This tuft I'm going to ignore.
Yep. This tuft will be solved by some type of manufacturing thing we do up there on the flake holder, flake controller. And I think we're making real progress. So this would be the third and fourth log of the 6. So that back elevator will raise up, and we'll push 2 more logs over, and you can see the edge of the logs are a lot cleaner. Well, there's the lip, it wanted to roll a little bit. Might be some addressing we have to do with the height.
It looks to me like with the way of the bale, we've got a little bit more of a droop.
Yeah.
So we just need to bring all of our positions up a little bit.
Yeah. It's 2 beautiful bales on the scale. Look at that.
That bale looks a little better.
Yep. Yeah, from our...
It's not very nice there because we're not shearing it properly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this was from not shearing correctly with the guillotine, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. Now this looked sheared nicer. Just
Yeah, you just gotta fix that stuff.
tightened up. Look at that. Victory. So we have some real cylinder issues to address, but I think this gives everyone a little bit of a heads up of what's here to come and how we're going to get a lot better. And set our sights to a better tomorrow. I would call that a productive first outing with hay.
Yeah.
So really what we have to do some manufacturing for a taller flake control over there.
Yep.
Maybe increase the size of the guillotine cylinders.
Yep.
And then still figure out that darn alien strapper over there.
Yeah.
Yep, that technology. And then I think
we're at the point where we could actually kick it in auto then.
I think so too. Well, I think that's a great start. I think that gives us all something to look forward to in another video.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that's great. The stack's still standing.
The ugly stack.
Yeah.